Hello everybody and welcome to the Punchboard Report. My name is Blake Ryder. Today we will be looking at Mountain Goats. Mountain Goats is a small box filler weight style game from BoardGameTables.com. They actually recently came out with a line of 3 of these smaller box filler weight style games, including Mountain Goats as well as GPS and Sequoia. Mountain Goats specifically is kind of a rebranding, reskinning of an older game called Level X, also by the same guy, Stefan Risthaus. And in this game, what you're going to be doing is rolling dice and creating combinations of dice that will allow your goats to ascend these mountains to the top. And once you get to the top, that's when you can start scoring points. However, when you're at the top, you're also at risk of being knocked off by the other players. So let's get it set up on the table and we'll be back for some thoughts. Okay, so this is Mountain Goats, and it is set up for 3 players. Players are going to have a goat meeple of their color at the bottom of each of these mountains, and what we're going to be doing is rolling these dice to essentially create combinations of numbers equivalent to the numbers we see here, and then rising up these mountains, and in doing so, once we get to the top, we will start getting point tokens. So let me explain. Let's say it is the black player's turn and black rolls. They may do this. They may say 7 and 8, okay? So they would move up 1 on 7, and 1 on 8, okay? And now let's say it is the yellow player's turn and yellow does that. They may do this. They may go 8, 6, 5. So you can group them by themselves. So 5, 6, 5, 6, and then 8, and then they would move up in those spaces. So this is just going to continue like this, and then red would go and red would roll, and red may do this. They may say 6, 6. Oops, that was a 6. So red would then go 6, 6, 5. So 6, 6, and 5. So the game is going to continue like this, but eventually it may look something like this, okay? And now let's say it is the black player's turn, and black rolls, and black does that, okay? What they may do in this situation is they may go 5 and 8. So 8, they would move up 1, and then 5, boom, get to the top. They get a point token that is worth 5 points at the end of the game. And now, as long as black remains on top of the 5 column, when it gets back to them, if they were to roll the dice and get a 5 again, any number of 5s they get, they will get 1 point token for it. And eventually, if they move the 6 on the top, that will be the exact same thing. However, let's say this is the situation, and now it is yellow's turn, and yellow rolls, and yellow gets this. Yellow can now do this. They may say, okay, 5, and then boom, they get a 5-point token, and they knock the black player down to the bottom, and then they would move up in 6. So now the yellow player is on the top, and now whenever it is their turn, as long as they are on the top, they will then get 5-point tokens anytime they register a 5. And the game is going to continue like that. It's all about timing at what point you go to the top, knowing that you can get knocked down at any point. The only other thing you have to know about rolling the dice is that at any point, if you roll 2 1s, then one of the ones could be treated as a wild. So if that was what I rolled, I could theoretically turn that to a 6 for argument's sake, and then move up in the 9, and then move up in the 6 column. So gameplay is going to continue like this, and at a certain point, someone may have a full set of these tiles, these scoring tiles on top. So one of each from each of the different numbers. If that were to happen, you will then get this, which is a 15-point bonus token, and you will get 15 points at the end of the game. The second player to do it will get a 12-point token. The third will get a 9. The fourth will get a 6. And theoretically, that could be the same player. If they get the 15 and then they get the next set of one of each, they would then also get the 12. So gameplay is going to continue like this, and we're going to keep going until either all 4 of these have been claimed, or there are 3 of these different token piles that have been emptied. And then everyone's going to add up their points, and whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. The only other thing to note is that this game scales from 2 to 4, and the number of players will dictate how many of these scoring tokens is in each of the piles. And that's how to play. All right, so that's Mountain Goats. So first and foremost, we have to recognize this is a filler weight game. So we have to look at it in the context of what it is. This is not a Stefan Feld Euro-style game. This is a filler game. So that said, in the context of that, this game is super fun. Super, super fun. We had a lot of good times with this game. And, one of the things you'll notice probably about this game is that you can explain this in 90 seconds. I can literally set a timer, boop, and then 90 seconds later, everyone knows how to play, whether you're a seasoned veteran gamer, obviously, or if you're someone that has very little gaming experience and is just there to have a good time and hang out. You can explain it to everybody, and I like that. I like having games like that in my collection for moments like that when you just pull it out, 2 minutes later, everyone is having a good time. I like that. This game is extremely, extremely tactical. It's all about deciding when to take that plunge to the top, knowing that you can get knocked down, but knowing also that if you get up there and get 1 or 2 tokens, that puts you in position to then get those bonuses because you have secured those tokens. And the fact that the different mountains are different sizes, and the 5s are really long and the 10s are really short, that makes the decisions agonizing sometimes, because if you're at the top of the 5 and you get knocked down, you're thinking to yourself, oh my god, am I really gonna reclimb that for 5-point tokens? But if you don't, you're gonna give someone else the just undefended access to those tokens. So for a game that's of this small box type of game, it creates some really good, solid decisions. And again, they're not crazy complex decisions, but they're really good, thinky decisions that you're gonna have to think about. The game also. Let's actually take a second and talk about the production. The production is really, really solid. I mean, the box is so tiny, I could toss this anywhere and just bring it along with me, which I really like. The art is great. It's really vibrant. For a game of such a small box, it spreads out. It has table presence. The colors are just so just deep and bold. I like that. The dice, they're nice and chunky, big dice. They're like pieces of steak. Like I like breaking out my dice tower and chucking them in the dice tower for this game. They make a nice, good clickety clack, loud snapping sounds, and I just like that. And the meeples are big, and they packed everything into the box, and you have to really cram it in there, but they got it in there, and it is a solid production from BoardGameTables.com. And what's interesting about this game is that on the surface it might not seem like there's a ton there, but there actually is once you get into it. Like we played this game a few weeks ago, and my wife was there, and she came up with this strategy. She thought, I'm gonna just go up to the top of the 5 mountain and just keep taking 5s and keep taking 5s and try to just drain the 5s. That way, it'll be really hard for anyone else to get any of those full set tokens, because if she has most or all of the 5s, and then she knows that she kind of will then be able to just cherry pick and try to get everything else, and then try to get those sets herself, knowing that most other people don't have a 5. So there are a lot of different things you can kind of come up with and different ways to play this game, and I really like that. Beyond that, the game scales extremely well. When the game came out originally as Level X, it was a 2-player only game. And, it actually worked perfectly well at 3 and 4. I played it at all player counts, and it scales very well. The only difference is the number of tokens that are in the tops of those mountains. Each pile has more, obviously, if you are playing with more players. And that's it. And it scales extremely well, regardless of whether or not you're playing with 2, 3, or 4. So, as far as this game is concerned, I happen to really like games of this style. Someone who doesn't like a game that's going to be decided by luck, obviously you're rolling dice, so there's luck in this game. So if you're a person that's not going to, be happy with a game that has a luck element in it, or, like this, then you might not like this. But if you can just separate that and just focus on having a good time and just throwing dice and allocating them, this is a game that's going to have a lot of those, oh my gosh, moments. And I like that. It's exciting, it's lively, it's vibrant, and people get really excited and into it, when you're playing it. So, definitely high marks from me on this one. And if this sounded interesting to you, I recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching.